Hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Maki, Senior Assistant Director of Admission here at Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. Let me be one of the first to congratulate you and your student on their well-earned admission to Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. We are so excited for them here in the admissions office and can't wait to celebrate with them in the upcoming months. But also, this is really a time for you as the parent, caregiver to your student to also give yourself a pat on the back for supporting them all the way up until this point in their high school career and kickstarting their college search process. So kudos to you as well. And again, congratulations to your student. The purpose of this video is to really walk you through some important next steps now that your student has been admitted to the university. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the financial aid process, the housing process, ways to connect with your admissions counselor and visit campus, some general tips as someone that's been working in the field for a couple of years now, and then also some ways to connect with us on social media. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about that financial aid process. Now, you might be a parent who maybe has had a child go through the college process before and you're familiar with the financial aid process, or maybe you're a parent that is going through this process for the very first time. Regardless of your experience with financial aid in the college process, we are here for you in the admissions office to help walk you through this process and answer any questions you have. So for financial aid in general, the number one thing you'll want to make sure to complete is the FAFSA application. Now, the FAFSA stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, and it is the best way to maximize the amount of federal financial aid that you and your student can qualify for in order to help pay for the cost of higher education. So what you'll want to do is have you and your student create a FAFSA account, and you'll do this through the studentaid.gov website. So the application is currently open, so you can go in and fill out this application as soon as you can. Whenever I'm working with students and families, I always encourage them to just fill out the FAFSA as soon as possible. The application opened end of November, early December of this year. So it is open. I would encourage you to sit down and fill it out. It's also a nice thing to just check off your list before the start of the holiday season, before the start of the new year. So I would encourage you to do that. It is a simplified formula now, so it should only take about 20 minutes of your time to complete. And if you have questions when you're filling it out, again, you can always reach out to us. The FAFSA basically is an application that will go to the Department of Education, and they will determine how much federal financial aid you and your student qualify for. So some types of aid that you might see in your financial aid package can include scholarships, awards, grants, student loans for your student, federal work study. There's a couple of things that can be baked into there as well. And I know that it can be a little bit of a confusing process. What is a grant versus a scholarship versus a loan? So what I would encourage you to do is once you complete your FAFSA application, it will go to the Department of Education, and then it will make its way back to our financial services office here at MCPHS. We are hoping to get those final financial aid packages out to students and families in January, February. Depending on when you submit it will determine when you receive your full aid package from us. But once you do have that in hand, I would definitely encourage you to sign up for an individual financial aid planning appointment with one of our counselors in the admissions office or financial services. These individual financial aid appointments are a great way to sit down, really go through line by line everything that you and your student qualify for on that aid package. Talk about financing options, talk about tuition, payment plans, all of that good stuff. So those appointments will be available in the spring. So just, be on the lookout for that. And the other thing I will mention as well is that MCPHS does have a financial aid priority deadline of March 15th. So basically what that means is you want to make sure to complete your FAFSA application before March 15th in order to qualify for as much financial aid as possible. You can still submit your FAFSA application after March 15th. You will still qualify for some financial aid, but it just might not be as much as you would have received if you submitted that FAFSA before March 15th. So again, it's a priority deadline. So make sure to just get that application in as soon as you can. So that's sort of that financial aid process and timeline. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about on-campus housing. I know that having worked in the field for a couple of years, students get really excited and want to know, where they'll be living, what housing looks like, and that whole timeline. So at MCPHS, we do guarantee student housing on campus for the first 2 years of their program. It is not a requirement to live on campus at MCPHS, but your student does have that guaranteed housing option. So if you're a family that's coming from Boston, or the greater Boston area, and maybe your student wants to commute, they want to take, the Red Line up to campus or something like that, or the commuter rail, or they want to drive in, they can certainly do that. They have that option. It is not a requirement to live on campus. But for students that do want to live on campus, once they have submitted their enrollment deposit and their housing deposit, that will indicate to us that that student is interested in living on campus. So from that point, they will then get access to our housing portal, which typically opens up in the spring. For all of our deposited students that have also submitted a housing deposit. So for students that deposit a little bit early, they will have kind of priority access to that housing portal, which is really exciting. And in the housing portal, they will be able to complete a housing questionnaire and a housing contract. Now, the housing questionnaire will ask your student basically, if they, are clean or messy, or if they like to go to bed early or stay up late, those types of living preferences. And I would always encourage, your student to be as honest as possible when completing that housing questionnaire, because it really helps out our residence life staff, our amazing res life staff, in matching your student with another student that kind of has similar living preferences. So that process will, happen in the spring. And then usually our residence life staff will work, early summer to work on placing students, and housing assignments will typically come out for our students over the summer before classes start in the fall. So that's a little bit about housing. And then next, maybe you haven't seen any of our housing options, or you haven't been to campus and you're looking for ways to visit. We do have a number of really fantastic events planned for the spring for you and your admitted student to come to campus. So the first one I'm going to talk about is our MCPHS Boston Bound Admitted Students Days. These are really, really fun events on campus. They're typically, larger scale events. We invite all of our admitted students to campus for a couple of days in the spring. We offer typically, an information session, campus tours. You can connect with our current students. We'll have faculty on campus. We usually have a lunch of some sort, which is really fun. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to bring the family and check out campus, those admitted student events will be available Saturday, January 25th, Saturday, February 15th, Saturday, March 22nd, and Sunday, April 13th. So we really hope to see you and your student on campus for one of those days. If you can't make those days, we also offer a pretty unique thing in our office called a Your Day. And the Your Day is really for your student, and it's their day, right? They have the option to kind of pick and choose a couple of different things they want to do to customize their on-campus experience. We offer these Your Days Monday through Friday, and they will be starting January 22nd and running through April 25th. So some highlights for the Your Day: your student can come to campus, they can get a campus tour, meet with their admissions counselor. They can also go to class with the current student. So maybe they're sitting in on, Bio 101 lecture, or they're going to a chemistry lab. And then they also have the option to get, coffee or lunch with the current student as well. So it's really fun. I have heard excellent things from students that come to campus for Your Days, because it really allows them to envision themselves as a student at MCPHS and get a taste for what the community is really like. So those tend to be very popular options as well. And then if you're not able to come to a Your Day or an admitted students day, we also have virtual options as well. So you can go to our website, mcphs.edu/visit, and under the undergrad admitted student options, you will also be able to register for a virtual event, either via Zoom or over the phone. And it's a great way to connect with your direct admissions counselor or your student's direct admissions counselor. So would encourage you to do that as well. And then, really, as someone that has been working in the field for almost 4 years now, just a couple of general tips, as a parent or a caregiver that is really trying to help support your student through this process. I just wrote down a couple of things that I think are important to kind of keep in mind. The number one thing is to really encourage your student to regularly check their email. And I know this sounds silly, but it is it's really, really important. A lot of colleges and universities will typically use email as the primary method of communication to communicate with your student directly. So just make sure that they're checking that email, responding to emails in a timely manner. They definitely don't want to miss any important information that's coming their way via email. So that's the first thing I would say. The other thing I would say is to get to know your admissions counselor really well. We have a team of fantastic counselors at the MCPHS admissions office, and we all have our own set of territories and areas that we work directly with students and families from. So for example, I work with students out of the Boston area, South Shore, Massachusetts, and also Manhattan and the boroughs in New York City. So if you are a parent coming from that area, please feel free to connect with me either virtually. It's just a really great way to kind of get to know campus a little bit more if you're not able to go in person. And we are also able to kind of answer those financial aid questions, admissions questions, and all of those next step things. And then really, work with your student throughout this process. We know that it's so exciting, but it can also be a little bit overwhelming too. So just make sure you're going into it as a team. It's really a family decision, and we ultimately are all on the same page and on the same side of wanting to make sure that your student ends up at the right institution that meets both their academic goals, their social goals, personal goals, financial goals, and all of that great stuff. And then lastly, really just make sure to connect with us on our social media platforms. Our YouTube channel and our Instagram account are both MCPHS Admissions. We would love to connect with you and get social with you on those platforms. And congratulations again to you and your student on their well-earned admission to Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences. We are so excited to welcome you all to campus and to help your student kickstart their journey to becoming a future healthcare leader. So thank you all again, and we can't wait to see you on campus soon. Have a good one.